Hey Most Amazing Top 10 family, I'm your host Che Dorena and welcome back to Most Amazing Top 10. Now, I'm someone who was made to be looked at. I'm basically Michelangelo's David but with better hair, so you can bet I'm not going to walk into oblivion anytime soon. But some people out there have different plans for their future. Some people want to fade away like a fart in the wind, and they want the only thing that they're remembered by to be the last thing they said before they disappeared. And that's why I'm bringing you today's list of top 10 scary last words by people who mysteriously vanished or disappeared. As always, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and hit the little notification bell. Also, stick around for the whole list because I'm going to be doing some more pet shoutouts for the Most Amazing Top 10 family, something I love doing because I get to look at dogs all day. And if you want me to give your dog, cat, or capybara a shoutout, then hit me up on Instagram. And if anyone at home is looking for some Most Amazing Top 10 merch, then there's a link below with all the details, and you can use the offer code MA10 for $5 off, so you can grab a shirt for like 10 bucks. And without taking any longer, let's get into this list. At number 10 we have Frederick Valentich. In 1978, Frederick Valentich was on a test flight. He was part of the Australian military, and while on this flight he had something strange happen. A hovering saucer-shaped object started to follow him. He tried to avoid it, but it seemed to follow him with incredible precision, and for some reason his engine started to malfunction. He flew around with the object for an extended period of time before he said, "It's hovering and it's not an aircraft." This was the last transmission they received from him. Then there was 17 seconds of silence, followed by static, and then the transmission cut out. Frederick was never heard from again. UFO enthusiasts believe that he was abducted by aliens, and for good reason. Everything I just told you seems like a textbook open and shut case of alien abduction. Seems like they came down, picked someone up, and then took off into the dark void of space. Anyone who follows the story of Frederick Valentich think that the Australian government is hiding information about what happened to him. They think that there is way more to this story that should be released to the public. People crave the truth as to actually what happened. At number 9 we have Will CIERZAN. It was January of 2017 and Will was home with his nephew. The two would often hang out and watch sports together. That evening, after his nephew left, Will's wife called to see how he was doing. He told her everything was fine and that dinner was ready. This was around 5 p.m. His wife arrived home at 6 and dinner was ready, the table was set, but Will was nowhere to be found. All of Will's belongings were still in the home, so it wasn't a situation of him trying to run away and leave his wife behind. An investigation was launched and no one could find out what happened to him. Police found footage of a white SUV pulling up to Will's home around 5:30 the evening he went missing, and some of Will's blood was also found in the home. The SUV did belong to a family member, but every lead that the police investigated was a dead end. Will is still missing to this day, and the last thing his wife ever heard from him was dinner is ready. At number 8 we have Mike McClain. Mike McClain was a New Hampshire resident, and one night out with some friends his life took a turn. In April of 2019 he was at the Tropical Lounge nightclub with a few people, and one of his female friends got into an argument with another woman at the club. I bet everyone had their phones out and was screaming World Star. Things got so heated between these two that the women decided to take it outside. Things were about to pop off when Mike stepped in and split up the fight between the two women. There was a large crowd outside and this drew the attention of the police. The cops came in to break everything up, and this was the last that Mike's friends saw of him. At 2 a.m. Mike called his boss. You think it would be to say, "I'm not coming into work tomorrow, I'm too drunk, I'm gonna be hungover," but instead he said, "They're after me more than one." Then the call cut out. Obviously this frightened his boss, so he called back, but Mike didn't answer. This was the last anyone had heard of him. His cell phone was tracked to a McDonald's, but there was no other hints to where he might have gone. At number 7 we have Mark SAYLOR. This incident happened back in August of 2009. Mark and his family had just left the lot of a Toyota dealership and something was about to go terribly wrong. As they came onto the freeway, the accelerator on the car got stuck. His car speed started to increase and the brakes weren't working either. In a panic, Mark called 911 to try and see if they could do anything to help him out. He wanted to find a way to slow the car down. Unfortunately for him, it was too late. They had to turn off the freeway, came into an intersection, and crashed into a car going 120 miles miles an hour. Everyone in the car was killed instantly. An investigation was launched as to why this happened, but the car was too damaged to get any information. Other members of Saylor's family sued Toyota and ended up walking away with $10 million. Toyota blamed the accident on faulty floor mats causing the accelerator to get stuck. But why didn't Mark Saylor shift the car into neutral, and why didn't the brakes work? This is a mystery that has never been solved. Mark's last words to the 911 responder were pray, pray. I know we know where this guy went, but this is still an interesting story and a mystery. At number 6 we have Tupac. Maybe the best way to go out, Tupac's famous last words were F you. Tupac Shakur was shot down right on the Las Vegas Strip, and when the ambulance arrived to try and save him, he was trying to let the paramedics know who had shot him before he died. Perhaps he knew he wasn't going to make it and he wanted to get the information out. I guess the paramedic wasn't listening because he decided to just say F you, and he was dead not long after that. Who killed Tupac is now one of the biggest mysteries in the music industry to this day. Some people even calling out Suge Knight and Puff Daddy as the orchestrators for his death. Also, why would someone want to kill Tupac? It could have just been jealousy. Someone watching the massive rise of a 25-year-old star like Tupac thought it should have been them, and if they can't have it, no one can. Other people believe he was trying to make a change in impoverished black communities, so a hit was put out on him to make sure that that never changed. Once again, a mystery that we know where the guy went, but I also wanted to include this Tupac thing because I think it's pretty cool. At number 5 we have Brooklyn Farthing. Now we're going back onto the mysteries where we have no idea where they are. Brooklyn was only 18 years old when all of her friends and family would see her for the last time. It was the night of June 21st, 2013 when Brooklyn and her cousin Paige went off to a birthday party out in a field. For some of you this might sound weird, but if you grew up in a small town or in the suburbs, this is actually pretty normal. There's not enough things to do in places like that, so instead of hanging out at your local fast food chain, you go to a field and get blackout. Now, Brooklyn was supposed to spend the night with one of her friends, but she met a guy at this party and wanted to go back to his place. Her friend tried to convince her otherwise, but Brooklyn insisted and her friend ended up going home alone. Brooklyn went back to this guy's place and apparently wasn't having a good time because she soon called her cousin Paige to come pick her up, but Paige had been drinking and could not drive. Brooklyn was reluctant to call her mother to come pick her up, so she called her ex-boyfriend to come grab her. Her ex was working an overnight shift but agreed to come give her a ride after his shift was over. After some time had passed, he received several text messages from her saying she was scared and asking if he could please hurry up. Then he just got one that said, "Never mind." Later the police were called because the house was on fire. Some of Brooklyn's belongings were found in the house but no body was found. Apparently the guy who brought her back to the house had left. He said he was friends with her ex-boyfriend and wanted to avoid seeing him when he came to pick her up. Police investigated the case but no arrest was ever made. The exact cause of the fire was unknown and Brooklyn was never found. At number 4 we have Susan Walsh. In 1996, Susan Walsh went missing without a trace. It was a puzzling case because she was an investigative reporter and may have made some enemies along the way, mainly the Russian mob. She did a story on how they were trafficking people in and out of New Jersey. 2 days before she went missing, she told her friend that she had a stalker, and that was the last anyone heard from her. At number 3 we have Marion Barter. Sometimes people just want to disappear. In 1997, after 3 marriages, Marion Barter sold her house and went on a trip to England. She told no one where she was the entire time she was there until a few months later when she left a message on her daughter's answering machine. She was using a payphone, so she had to leave the message in pieces, but it sounded like she was having a great time. The last thing she said in the message was, "I'll call you back." Since then, no one has ever heard from Marion Barter. Maybe she was just tired of her old life and wanted to spice things up. I hope wherever she is, things are awesome for her. At number 2 we have Chase Allen Lackey. I love you, Pop. Those were the last words Chase's father ever heard from him. In the summer of 2017, Chase went missing with 0 leads. Something very strange about this case is that his apartment was completely untouched, his car was in the driveway, and there was no sign of forced entry into his place. The last anyone saw of him was Chase walking his dog, who also went missing. They took the dog too, what the hell, jeez. Police didn't have a lot to go on, but they think Chase's friends who were involved with some criminals might have had something to do with his disappearance. And our number 1 1 spot is Oscar Zeta Acosta. If you're a fan of Hunter S. Thompson, then you will know Oscar Zeta Acosta. He is Hunter S. Thompson's drug-fueled lawyer and friend. This guy goes down in history with Mr. Thompson as one of the biggest partiers of all time, so it shouldn't be a shock to anyone that this guy went missing. He was known for indulging in drugs and alcohol and also getting into fights. One day in 1974 he was on a trip in Mexico and he told his son that he was going on a boat ride. After that he was never heard from. People don't even know who was on the boat with him. There is a ton of speculation as to what might have happened. Some people believe that he might have overdosed while on the boat and out of fear the other passengers threw him overboard. Some other people think that there was never a boat ride at all and he just ran away to do drugs and party his face off without having to take care of his family. Maybe going on a boat ride is the new I'm gonna go grab a pack of smokes. Alright everyone, that is our list, and as promised I'm going to be giving some shoutouts to some of the most amazing top 10 families' pets. First off, we have the chinchilla King Gregory, who also goes by the nickname Grego. This is by far the most exotic pet I've had the pleasure of giving a shout out to. This guy looks like a little Ratatouille rat but with chubbier cheeks. Next, Hunter Lee wanted me to give a shout out to her pet rats. Still very cute, but I think Grego has them beat on the cuteness scale. We also have Indy the Chihuahua, who is insanely photogenic. That picture looks like it should be on the cover of GQ magazine. He looks like he's trying to sell me the newest male fragrance. And finally we have Cassandra's cute doggo Jack. Look at that big old smile he's got going on his face. If you want to see more of this shaggy dog, then you can check him out on Instagram at jack_woof_the_destroyer. Great page for a dog. And everyone, that is all we have for you today. I want to thank everyone so much for tuning in. As always, I would love it if you could like, comment, subscribe, and hit the little notification bell. Also, if you want some Most Amazing Top 10 merch, check out the link below and use the offer code MA10 for $5 off so you can grab a shirt for like 10 bucks. That's a sweet deal. Until next time, I've been CIERZAN and I'm gonna stay in the limelight. Ain't going missing.